Hi everyone, hope you're having fun at the XT Summit and welcome to my session on how you can build personalized experiences in public spaces. My name is Ravi Ivani and I'm a Vice President of Engineering based out of Sapient's New York office, currently focused on our travel and hospitality business. But before I dive deep in, I'd like you to take a look at these two photos. These photos are of a farmer co-op produce sale in the Guam territory of the US. One was taken last year and the other was taken this year. Could you guess the difference in the way produce is being sold and bought? If you guessed drive-through or contactless, then you were right. Historically, farmers got together every week and put up tents to sell produce to people in town. But this time there is something different. This time they have a drive-through complete with a menu board where they're putting up items in stock and crossing out items that they run out of. They're effectively providing a more situationally aware experience by enabling people not to get out of their cars and as a result, providing a slightly more personalized experience to meet the needs of their customers. Now here is another example. The Brock Inn at Dublin, Ireland used a window in the side of their inn to open a drive-through service to provide breakfast, lunch and dinner to their customers. Again, they are being situationally aware and solving a problem of the present times. Now this is not unlike 45 years ago when an emerging fast food chain opened their first drive-through in Arizona to solve a real problem at that time. And the problem was that soldiers around military bases in Arizona weren't allowed to get out of their vehicles in their army uniforms due to security reasons. And to serve them, the drive-thru was created and people could order, pay for and pick up their food right while staying in their cars. Now fast forward to today, over 100 million consumers every day across fast food, quick serve and fast casual restaurants order, pay for and pick up their food from a drive-thru. 70% of restaurant chain sales come from drive-thrus. And can you guess what the most pivotal point in a drive-thru is? It's where the customer decides what they want to buy. The ordering point. When the buyer is in front of this thing, the digital menu signage. Now think about this for a second. At this moment, this screen has the customer's complete attention. Now we all have our phones on us at all times, but if you were to put yourself in a marketer's shoes, and if you wanted to influence your customer to order something new off the menu, what digital channel do you think would have a bigger impact on the customer while they're at the store? The digital signage or the mobile phone? The answer is that in an in-venue scenario such as drive-thru, it has been proven that targeting marketing and merchandising to digital signage would have a greater impact than a phone app or a website. Now let's consider another scenario. I was recently shopping at a Whole Foods grocery store. My phone was in my pocket and my hands were pushing the shopping cart. And I was at the fruit aisle debating whether or not to buy grapes. I glance up and I see this digital signage with the week's featured sales. I notice that grapes are on sale and boom, I pick up a bag of grapes and put them into my shopping cart. The screen then switches to show me dips and I'm reminded that I need to get some chips and dip for snacking on the Labor Day long weekend. So digital signage brought convenience and value to my shopping experience, while to the store, it contributed to incremental sales. Now there's also hard research that shows the value of digital signage. 40% shoppers say that digital signage could change what they buy when relevant information is served close to the point of purchase. Think about that. That's quite a powerful stat. Which is why to craft what goes on to the digital signage, marketers and merchandisers painstakingly handpick the content that goes on it. They hope that their choices will encourage customers to add more items to their shopping bags. But that inherently is where the problem is. Because the products and their presentation on the digital signage is handcrafted by a human, the inherent challenge with most digital signage is that it is a static experience. Most digital signage today operates like a physical store shelf. Items are statically arranged based on what has been decided by the merchandiser days in advance. It's an identical experience from one customer to the next, a sharp contrast to an Amazon like personalized experience with products and layouts that consider customer context, what's trending, customer preferences, and their shopping history. So, if I were to ask you a question that as a consumer, for a digital signage to be useful to you, what type of content should be on it? Then what would you say? If you're like me, you would want the content to be contextually relevant to your situation and needs. And you would want the content to be easy and maybe even fun to consume. But think about this from a brand's perspective. For a brand, delivering the best possible signage that is relevant to any target customer at any particular moment in time, that cannot possibly be realized through a static experience handcrafted by a human, right? This is a complex problem to solve, and a solution to do that did not exist in the market. So we built our own. We wanted to make it easy to create real-time data-driven customer experiences for digital signage in the real world. We took a more sophisticated approach than a traditional CMS to stitch together dynamic data-driven experiences and not just static pages. We fueled it with a design system that could create beautiful customer experiences easily. And we designed it to be able to drive specific business outcomes for brands, such as helping customers reduce their shopping time or increase their bag size. We call our solution Premise. Premise is a CMS solution designed using experience technology that drives a rich data-driven customer experience. Premise is architected from the ground up for API-driven product and content display and API-driven dynamic layouts that run on device hardware and screens that are built for digital signage. So what experience could we bring to life with Premise? Picture a busy night at a quick serve restaurant. We detect a long line in the drive-thru and we switch the digital menu signage to speed mode. The first customer is identified, and as she pulls up, the signage changes, displaying items she's likely to order based on past purchases. Now in speed mode, we also see another guest ordering, and as she places the order, the digital signage suggests upsells of items that satisfy her preferences and are also faster to prepare. And by doing that, it is able to provide customer recommendations while addressing the store's operational concerns. Now, behind the scenes, the merchandising team can configure the signage not by just handpicking products, but by easily configuring rules and parameters that are used by machine learning algorithms to generate an intelligent sign that's based on real-time customer context and customer behaviors. Now let's take a look at the experience technology behind Premise. Now when we think about building typical web and mobile apps, our efforts are primarily focused around the software side. But in the digital signage, the underlying hardware that also plays an equally important role in terms of both design and implementation. We also think about physical stores where the digital signage would be deployed, whether it's 10 stores or 10,000 stores. Now, each of these stores could have any number of digital signs deployed. It could be 1 sign, 5 signs, or 10 signs, depending on the in-venue experience the brand wants to create. We also think about where the signs are going to be deployed. Indoors, outdoors, or both. Outdoor signs might need to withstand harsh weather conditions such as high and low temperatures, wind speeds, and so on. So they need to be resilient to the elements. Now the digital signage itself consists of 2 pieces of hardware. The first is a device called a media player, which is effectively a specialized computer in a very small form factor. The media player runs the software to drive the digital signage. The second piece of hardware is the display screen, which is typically connected to the media player via HDMI cable. Now, the types of experiences we want to deliver determine which media player and associated peripherals are needed. For example, to make the digital signage more accessible, a brand might want to add speakers or even a microphone in addition to a visual display. Or we might add sensors such as camera or Bluetooth to identify opted-in customers via face recognition or beacon-like technology. Now, from a software perspective, Premise is a convergence of three experience technology areas: web, AI, and IoT. We use web technologies to orchestrate and deliver content. We use AI to help decide what content needs to be delivered and when and to whom it needs to be delivered to. And we use IoT solution patterns to manage the fleet of digital signage devices where the content is presented. Now, one of the key capabilities of Premise is content orchestration, which is about getting the right content to the right screen at the right time. The content could be product content, marketing content, image and video assets, pricing information, promotion content, so on and so forth. Now, content orchestration, it's like playing a game of tug of war with forces in play that are in opposition to each other. Now, on one side, we have hardware and network constraints of the in-venue ecosystem. On the other side, we need to meet the demands to serve the freshest possible content to the consumer, as well as the desire of merchandisers to serve high fidelity content with videos and animations to engage the buyers. Premise optimizes for both these sides through the right mix of scheduled and on-demand and real-time content updates using both push and pull mechanisms. So this allows for content updates to be schedule driven and pre-flooded for days or weeks in advance, or it allows for content to be changed on the fly and satisfies the need to be picked up quickly and uniformly across all the digital signs in store. We engineered in optimization such as smart caching, GPU offloading, asynchronous processing, robust retry strategies on the Premise components running on the media player. Now, the goal of experience management in Premise is about the ease of creating a range of experiences. Merchandisers create experiences in Premise using a modular system design. We have a form-based and a limited WYSIWYG-based UI for merchandisers to build and configure experiences. Now, instructions are generated in JSON format when merchandisers pick the content and layout that goes with a particular digital signage. And the beauty of this architecture is that those JSON instructions map content and layouts to modules, so these instructions could also be generated programmatically. For example, a merchandiser could set a dynamic rule to sort products by popularity or group products together based on specific attributes, and the appropriate JSON is automatically generated, using which content is retrieved and rendered at execution time. But here is the best part. This same framework also enables for module assembly to be driven by AI. We can have an ML API return instructions on what modules go where on the screen and what content goes in which modules in the same JSON format. And that could be used to retrieve and render modules on the screen at execution time. Therefore, this mechanism allows for unlimited combinations of machine-driven content and layouts to be created. And it breaks the barriers of human limitation that come with handpicking content and layouts for brands to target a large number of customer microsegments. Of course, human can still continue to control the parameters sent to the ML API to set boundaries on what is and what is not allowed based on brand guidelines. Now, if you were to extend this even further, the piece of content being referred to in the JSON could be an audio file, and the location could be the order in which it is played. And that would allow for brands to create both personalized and inclusive digital signage experiences through the simultaneous use of display and sound. Now, the AI decisioning of showing the right content at the right time on the right screen is determined by running ML models on macro and micro context information. Macro context is contextual information that is not necessarily changing by the moment. For example, in the case of an apparel retailer, predicting what clothing types are popular this season or information that the next weekend is the Labor Day weekend is all macro context. Now, on the other hand, micro context is the real time contextual information that is sent to the ML models from the digital signage devices. For example, contextual navigation data such as the item being looked at or the customer's order basket as it is at that point in time. This information is continuously streamed back to the ML engine from the premise components on every media player. The ML APIs then respond back with content predictions in real time, which can be displayed to customers. Now, one of the biggest differences with a digital signage solution compared to a web or mobile app is the need for management of the devices on which the software runs. Now, think of a deployment scenario where we need to deploy digital signage to a restaurant chain that has, say, 1,000 locations, each restaurant having 4 digital signs. That's a fleet of 4,000 media players and 4,000 screens that need to be tracked, monitored, and managed. And this is similar to managing a fleet of IoT devices. So we used IoT engineering patterns to manage them. We built premise on an open architecture and we work with media player and screen manufacturers that support open hardware API so that everything from monitoring cloud services to device level control right down to turning a display screen on or off can be done remotely via API. Now, Premise has a central management solution to ensure devices are working properly and we're able to monitor health, detect and remotely troubleshoot problems when they occur. We also engineer to be able to deploy software updates with zero downtime on devices. And that's vital for brands to continuously innovate their digital signage without disrupting their customer experience. Brands are battling for our attention, and holding consumer attention is one of the biggest concerns for any business. Today, we see retail stores, quick serve restaurants, airports and transit, shopping malls, and hospitality venues increasingly adopt digital signage to grab consumer attention. Our phones are our primary screens wherever we go, but in a contactless economy heading towards low touch, high engagement experiences, digital signage is fast becoming our second screen. But today, most of that second screen is just looping static content. And there's a great opportunity for brands to make that content more relevant, timely, and personalized into their in-venue customers. Premise can play a pivotal role in helping brands succeed in that journey. If you're interested in understanding more details on Premise, I look forward to helping you. Thank you.